I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that no one wants you to know. Because the truth is that we have been caught in a dangerous ultimatum. Go left, they say. Go right, they say. But what does it mean to be left, to be right, when both parties are funded by the same people, by the same organizations? And I'm talking about nobody other than the banks. Because the truth is, Jeffrey Epstein didn't only work with the banks, he took them to bed and made them his bitch. The banks are the one sore subject that America has not been talking about. Follow the money. And yet, our government doesn't want to. Because we are focusing on the casualties and on the symptom rather than the cause. Because the truth is, these sad casualties in the crossfire between political policy were funded by the banks. Let me tell you this. Maria Farmer. Now, Maria Farmer was one of Epstein's earliest victims, and she testified that Jeffrey Epstein had a Jewish supremacist network linked to the megagroup. What is the megagroup? The megagroup is one of the dark, obscure groups that has grown throughout North America that has comprised America's 20 wealthiest people. And even Spielberg is part of it. And here is the truth. These organizations are lobby groups for Israeli political policies. And Farmer, who had endured racial abuse, said that Lex Wexner was a major player. Now, who is Les Wexner? Les Wexner is the CEO of Victoria's Secrets. He is Jeffrey Epstein's teacher, and Jeffrey Epstein was his apostle. The two men, reportedly, carried out a decades-long relationship, through which Les Wexner handed him millions of dollars, a private plane, 2 mansions, and his company eventually fell into the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was his financier, and after 2007, when Jeffrey Epstein was said to be officially on record a pedophile, Wexner reportedly said that he had cut off all contact with Epstein. Now, don't you find it funny that when you go look through the Epstein files, you can find some emails through which they seem pretty buddy-buddy in 2008? And here's the thing. Maria Farmer, the first person who was assaulted and abused by Jeffrey Epstein, where did she get abused by Jeffrey Epstein? On Les Wexner's own property. And this is why we need to really understand the term Zionism and Jewish supremacy. Because the truth is, the state of Israel would prefer you to be anti-Semitic. Because the more someone is anti-Semitic, the less they are looking at the economic outcomes. Zionism is not religious. Judaism is a religious ideology. But Zionism is a political party with a political statist intent. And so, we need to understand that these people that Jeffrey Epstein was dealing his pedophilia to, they were not blackmailed. They were not coerced to use his services. No, they consented. To use the word blackmail almost undermines their own will to participate in pedophilia. It was a contract. It was a contract, and we need to refer it as a contract because we cannot linguistically let these people get off the hook. Now, in these past few weeks, I have questioned if heaven exists. But the one thing that I have truly concluded is that hell must exist because that is where Jeffrey Epstein and all of those rotten bastards will go burn, and it still wouldn't be enough. And that is why I say that we need to look at Jeffrey Epstein through a Zionist lens, because his own tactics of gathering information closely mirror that of Robert Maxwell on Bugged Operation. And Robert Maxwell, the father of Ghislaine Maxwell, even worked reportedly with the Mossad. And so here's the thing. When you look at all of these tactics mirroring the Mossad and Jeffrey Epstein, who, according to a 2008 plea deal, The U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta admitted, "I was told Epstein belonged to an intelligence and to leave it alone." And so he belonged to which intelligence? Well, when you read the email, you can clearly see Zionist supremacy. And that is why I think that it's important to look at the money. Who was funding Jeffrey Epstein? Because this is where it gets truly interesting. The most major banks in the US, such as Goldman Sachs, such as Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, BNB Paribas, Citi, Barclays, and JP Morgan Chase all dealt with Jeffrey Epstein, and they are the main banks who have been underwriting more than $7 billion in Israel war bonds. They are invested in our own downfall. And we need to realize this. And when I say that Jeffrey Epstein took these people to bed, I mean it literally. Because now I want to show you some photos. Let's look at the first photo. We see two people sitting together. In this image, we can clearly see in the background chess, meaning that maybe we are the pawns in their game, but also we can see a map with JP Morgan Chase. And the person whose face is not blotted out heavily resembles Jamie Dimon, who is the owner and CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Now, in this other photo, this disgusting photo, honestly, I saw this at 2 a.m. and it made me puke. We see a man with his hand over his mouth, and we see tons of cards over the bed. We see the name JP Morgan, but we also see a woman, or let's face it, a girl, a minor, in a Snow White costume. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because I want to quote this article that I read. Jeffrey Epstein asked an unidentified woman to buy a Snow White costume just weeks before former Barclays chief executive Jess Stanley's infamous exchange with the convicted sex offender about the Disney character. "I would love to take photos of you in a Snow White costume. You can get it from the costume store," Epstein wrote to the woman on June 20th, 2010. "I will get it," she replied. Now, the person in this image is Jess Stanley. And the reason why I'm focusing on Jess Stanley is this. Jess Stanley worked for JP Morgan, and he was the CEO of Barclays. But also, JP Morgan has had weird dealings. They have one of the biggest lobbies in Washington, D.C. And this is where I say it goes on both sides of the political aisle. Jamie Dimon stated under oath that he did not recall knowing Epstein until 2019. Yet, former JP Morgan banker Jess Stanley claimed that in a deposition he discussed Epstein with Dimon in at least 2 occasions. Because there is also something called the Wall of Cash, which is part of an elite client group in JP Morgan. And these were closely supervised by senior executives who reported directly to who? To Jamie Dimon. And this is also where it gets very interesting, because Jamie Dimon told to Obama in his 2009 inauguration, "Tell me what you need, I'll send people down there, and I'll do anything." He was very close friends with Bill Clinton, and he was also dubbed by the New York Times Obama's favorite banker. And when I say that this is truly both sides of the political aisle, you might have recalled that a few days ago, Kathy Rumler decided to leave the banking world and to step down. Kathy Rumler was an attorney at Goldman Sachs. She was their top lawyer, and in emails, she called Epstein Uncle Jeffrey. Catherine Rumler, that same attorney, was the principal deputy White House counsel, and then White House counsel to who? President Barack Obama. Now, the main message is this. Obama probably was not in these pedophile rings, and frankly, it is not the purpose of this video. The real purpose is this. Whether you're right or you're left, if you're part of a political organization, you are probably being funded by these pedophiles, either knowingly or unknowingly. Because this is where it gets interesting. The story of Israel. Now, the modern state of Israel was funded by who? The Rothschilds. And Even in emails of Jeffrey Epstein now, you can see that he has been closely working or contacting someone named Anna de Rothschild. Banks were the ones that funded the state of Israel. Banks are the ones that fund the state of Israel continuously. And the truth is, Zionism is not a religious ideology. It is a political ideology that only officially started in the 1870s. It wants you to believe that it is a religious ideology, because the second that you believe that it is a religious ideology, you're debating theology. You're debating whether or not, according to God, the nation of Israel should exist. And the thing is, they want you to discuss that, because when you start discussing theology, you stop discussing human rights. And human rights are what is being bypassed right now. Not theology, but a genocide that is being funded by the same people that Jeffrey Epstein took to bed. And here's the thing. Obama was following the policies of Bush. And policies during the 2008 bank bailouts resulted in all of the banks that Jeffrey Epstein had contacted with, they're the ones who got bailed out, ironically. The same banks that are banking on the downfall of Palestine, that are using our own investments to build the state of Israel. And the reason why I want to focus on this is this. Israel is not a state. It's a project. It's a project of which you are the payer. Israel has had universal health care, and our own politicians, they don't really seem too hot about having universal health care in America. But yet, they are the first to spend our money, our American tax dollars, towards the state of Israel, because our money pays for the state of Israel's own universal health care. We are paying for their safety. We are paying for their genocide. And I don't know about you, but I'm saying I won't take it anymore. Because what is happening right now is inhumane, and they want you in a fog, in the fog of war. And I say now, we don't want this. We don't want this. And so to finish this video, I want to share a video of little Yahoo, Benjamin Netanyahu, talking about how his own policies use religion to degrade human life and to commit atrocious crimes.
To get somebody to blow up a bus full of children or a building full of innocent civilians, you have to grind it into their minds. You have to wash their brains and tell them there's a higher cause out there. It's religious, ethnic, racial, whatever. And for that higher cause, you can disregard all the normal rules of morality.